I'll take the $20. Hello?
The evaluation might not be what you want.
That's okay, just give me the 20. Hello, my name is Dean Valentine. I'm going to start by telling you a little bit about my background. I'm an entertainment executive by training. I spent 10 years as president of Disney Television and Television Animation, and was responsible for some of the big hits of the 90s, including Home Improvement and Ellen, and had the pleasure of discovering a lot of major talent like Dave Chappelle and Ellen DeGeneres and Tim Allen. And after that, I was president of the United Paramount Network and turned that into a branded channel for young guys with shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and WWF Wrestling. I'm not saying it to brag, because I also put on some of the worst shows ever seen on American television. Those of you who caught Homeboys in outer space now know who is to blame. It was I. But my experience is relevant to why I'm here today. I didn't take part in the first internet boom of the 90s because I didn't believe that there was an economic basis for success. But when the broadband pipes lit up, it became clear to me that distribution was going to become commoditized. And that meant that the large media companies that I'd worked for my whole life, and whose entire business rested on monopolizing distribution, were going to lose their exclusive grip on audience and advertiser. And that meant that for the first time in years, there was a real opportunity to launch a new entertainment brand, this time using an online platform. Okay, so why comedy? The reason is that comedy is the trifecta. It is the most popular form of content with young adult males who form the driving audience of the internet, and they are the most sought after demo by advertisers because they can no longer be reached through traditional media. And even though it's proven popular content, and it's been a staple of the entertainment diet, big media hasn't been able to succeed in online comedy. The cost structure and the management structure are too inflexible. So I hear you ask yourself, before you part with your 20, what are you going to do that's different than all the other comedy sites that have sprung up across the internet? And I would answer, exactly. There's tons of funny stuff out there, but you can't keep track of it all, and nobody except the demented has time to surf from site to site to site looking for the funny. But people
I
need...
beg to differ, I have plenty of time to do that, really.
So what?
I have plenty of time to waste.
But he said apart from the...
That's why you only have a 20.
I won't disagree.
Where was I? Nobody except the demented has time to surf from site to site to site looking for the funny. What people need is a trusted guide. So, comedy.com. We're going to create the first online entertainment brand by bringing together the best aggregated content and the funniest originals editorially selected by comedy pros and semi-pros. You can't just aggregate and you can't just create. You have to do both. That's how we create a reliable experience for the user, and reliability engenders brand loyalty. Want to show the site? We actually have a site. We exist. And if my colleague here can get it. There we go. So as you can see, we impose a lot of editorial selection on top of what we look at. We select our videos. We have some really bright young kids who work with us. And on the right-hand side is our original content. You can go look at the site yourself. Please feel free. We encourage one and all. Want to go back to the originals? We launched, by the way, at the end of February, or semi-launched. Our originals form an important part of our branding strategy and help fuel our syndication deals. Our shows are geared to create repeat users. They're topical, and they're produced by a mix of both Hollywood and emerging talent. We cast them with hosts, and they're episodic in nature. We appreciate hard, funny, and jokes much more than cerebral wit. Although young guys are the core of our target, we've seen that many of our shows have broader appeal. Finally, we're increasingly making our shows around certain verticals like video games, tech, and relationships. and this tends to increase their distribution footprint. We make them at a low budget of between $500 and $1,500. In addition, we have the largest joke database online and a large library of original stand-up content, which we refresh continuously at a low cost. Not only do consumers expect to see jokes and stand-up at a site called comedy.com, but these two content categories help drive our mobile strategy. Our business model is simple. We sell impressions against our content to advertisers, which means that we intend to be as broadly syndicated as possible. Our YouTube and MySpace channels went live at the beginning of May, and last month we had 7.3 million video views across all of our channels. We had a total of roughly 3.8 million uniques to our content, 8.8 million page views, and 13 million impressions. And impressions is what we intend to sell when we start selling. We don't have the overhead to do carrier-by-carrier deals, but our m.comedy.com channel, powered by Transpera, just went live a few days ago. In addition, we're in conversation with major television and newspaper companies to include our content on the front page of their sites. We intend to tap into local ad dollars. In terms of what's coming down the pike, our first priority is to build some easy-to-use tools for turbo-sharing comedy content. That's what people do with comedy. They share it with their friends and their family. And we think that there are better tools that need to be built than those currently available anywhere. To bring more comedians onto the site, we're building advanced tools to let stand-ups customize their bulletins by zip code, which, if you're a stand-up, is really, really important because their business is a touring business, and MySpace doesn't allow that. So it's a very, very inefficient tool for them. And finally, because what's funny to me might not be funny to you, in fact, I'm sure that's the case, we need to enhance our recommendation engine so the content you're most likely to find funny gets to you, and the content I find funny gets to me.
Well done. Now, Dean, is there a special site for hecklers to participate?
One and all.
All right.
Well, actually,
Some
Every
feedback,
site is for hecklers.
some feedback for comedy.com. What do you guys think in any particular order?
Well, this business model is a joke. Do you have registered users already, or are you? How important is that?
Over time, we think it's very important. It's not the first level of what we're trying to do. Ultimately, we want to create comedy communities, if I could use that phrase. I mean, there are people who are interested in Latino comedy, people who are interested in, Garfield, all sorts of subject areas. So we want people to be able to express their particular sense of humor and however they choose to express it. So we've built the tools, they're on the site. It's just not what we're highlighting because we need to build our traffic first, and we need for that to be as broad as possible.
Are there people that still?
There are about 1,500, right now there's about 1,500 to 2,000 registered users who have profiles on the site.
So just still follow Garfield?
Huh?
They still follow Garfield?
No, I'm just dating myself. It's actually pathetic that you said that.
In terms of monetization, how do you think about comedy as a category to monetize? I mean, it's not particularly domain specific. You're getting a broad audience there. I suppose Latino comedy or things like that might have a specific demographic that is attracted and could be valuable in terms of sponsorship and things like that. But comedy is not something that lends itself well to contextual advertising, for instance. So how do you think about that business model?
I think it's a good question. We ultimately believe in the value of video and sponsorship advertising. I think the whole name of the game in media and in content is to raise the CPMs. And you don't get those CPMs really without a sponsorship type relationship. And if you're a branded company, comedy is what comes most naturally to you. They're already buying comedy.